Okay, so imagine dying in a bunker in 1945, becoming literally the most hated person in human history, having your body allegedly burned, and then the entire world just moves on. Case closed, right? Except here's the thing. What if the most documented, most studied, most thoroughly investigated death of the 20th century was actually just the greatest hoax in world history? Because apparently, according to declassified FBI documents, witness testimonies, and a frankly concerning amount of circumstantial evidence, there's a good chance that Adolf Hitler pulled the ultimate rage quit on Europe and just pieced out to Argentina to live a chill life in the Andes Mountains. And before you click away thinking this is full tinfoil hat territory, this isn't some random Reddit deep dive. The FBI genuinely investigated reports of Hitler chilling in South America for years after World War II. There are documents, there are photographs, there are witnesses who were like, yeah bro, saw a German guy who looked suspiciously like the Frere. The CIA literally spent resources on this. Your tax dollars, if you were alive in 1945, went toward figuring out if history's best hero was sipping tea in Patagonia. So how did we get from Hitler definitely died in his bunker to actually the FBI has a 700-page file on Hitler sightings in Argentina? Strap in, because this conspiracy theory has more plot twists than your favorite Netflix series, and honestly, some of the evidence is legitimately wild.
Kann man sagen, dass Hitler der Mann ihres Lebens war?
Ja, 100%. 100%.
So here's where things get weird. The official story is that Hitler shot himself in his Frere bunker on April 30th, 1945, and then his body was burned in a shell crater outside. Very metal, very final, except literally, nobody actually saw him dead. His bodyguards claimed they heard a gunshot, went into the room, and found him and Eva Braun deceased. Then they apparently just yeeted the bodies outside, doused them in gasoline, and set them on fire, while Soviet artillery was actively blowing everything up around them. The Soviets showed up, found some charred remains, did an autopsy, and were like, yeah, this is probably Hitler based on his dental records, which they got from his dentist's assistant. Not even the actual dentist, the assistant. The evidence was some jaw fragments and part of a skull. That skull fragment, by the way, got DNA tested in 2009 and turned out to belong to a woman under 40. Awkward. But wait, it gets better. No photographs exist of Hitler's body, none. The most photographed dictator in history, and somehow nobody thought to snap a pic of his corpse for posterity. The Soviets kept changing their story about what they found. Stalin himself told Western leaders he believed Hitler escaped. Stalin, the guy with unlimited resources and every reason to prove Hitler was dead, publicly said he thought the man bounced. Multiple Nazi officials managed to escape Germany through elaborate rat lines to South America. If random SS officers could make it to Argentina, why couldn't the guy with unlimited resources and the most motivation? The bunker had tunnels. There was chaos everywhere. Here's where this conspiracy goes from lol sure to wait, actually what? The FBI has literally hundreds of declassified documents about Hitler sightings in Argentina. Not like 3 pages, hundreds. You can read them yourself on their website. They're just chilling there in the vault like Easter eggs. In 1945, an informant told the FBI that Hitler arrived in Argentina via submarine 2 weeks after his supposed death. They gave specific details, dates, coordinates where the sub landed. The FBI didn't just ignore this, they actively investigated it. Multiple reports came in describing a German guy with a very specific mustache living in the foothills of the Andes in a Bavarian-style mansion. Because if you're trying to stay low-key, definitely build a giant German house in South America. Witnesses described seeing Hitler at a ranch called San Ram, about 600 miles from Buenos Aires. Several testimonies mentioned the same location independently. One report detailed Hitler living there with approximately 50 German families who'd also conveniently relocated. Just a casual expat community, nothing to see here. The wildest part? Argentina's president at the time, Juan Pan, was super Nazi-friendly. Argentina took in thousands of Nazi war criminals after the war. They had the infrastructure, the connections, the motivation. Adolf Eichmann, one of the Holocaust's architects, literally lived in Buenos Aires until Mossad grabbed him in 1960. If Eichmann made it, why not the boss? Some reports even claimed Hitler shaved his iconic moustache for character development. Okay, so Argentina after World War II was basically if Florida was a retirement community specifically for war heroes. We're not exaggerating, this was a whole thing. Historians estimate between 5,000 to 10,000 Nazis fled to Argentina after the war, which is genuinely unhinged numbers. Juan Penn's government actively helped Nazis escape through something called rat lines, which sounds like Jewish tunnels but was actually an organized network for smuggling fascists to South America. They got new identities, passports, the full witness protection experience. Joseph Mengele, the literal angel of death, was just vibing in Buenos Aires for years. Eichmann got caught there buying groceries. These weren't small fish, these were top-tier villains just living their best lives in Bariloche. The declassified documents describe Hitler allegedly living at Hacienda San Ram, this remote compound in the Andes. Multiple witnesses gave similar descriptions without knowing about each other's testimonies. One report from 1945 described Hitler arriving by submarine with about 50 people, then traveling by horseback to this estate surrounded by German immigrants. Very witness protection program meets Sound of Music. Rumors claimed he lived under the name Adolf Stellmail, which is honestly not that creative. Online researchers have found photos of German-style architecture in remote Argentine locations built around that time. Bariloche especially looks suspiciously like a Bavarian village got copy-pasted into South America. The craziest part, nobody seemed that pressed to verify these sightings. The Cold War started, everyone got distracted, and investigating whether history's worst person was living his cottagecore fantasy in Patagonia apparently became lower priority. Different era, different vibe. The sightings are absolutely unhinged. In one FBI document from 1945, this guy literally draws a map showing where Hitler's submarine landed, then describes seeing him with a group of Nazis horseback riding through Argentina, like they're on some Nazi retreat vacation. Someone reported seeing Hitler at a resort town looking tanned and healthy, which is honestly the biggest plot twist because this man was not known for being healthy. Witnesses said he looked older, thinner, but definitely recognizable. One report claims he was spotted at a German-owned ranch with tight security, guards everywhere, giving full cartel compound energy. Another person swore they saw him at a cafe in the town of San Carlos de Bariloche, just casually getting coffee, probably ordering in German and blowing his cover immediately. There's this wild interview with a German immigrant's daughter who claimed her family regularly interacted with Hitler at community gatherings. She described him as quiet, paranoid, never leaving the estate much, basically giving hermit vibes. Some reports mention he suffered from Parkinson's and needed assistance walking, which checks in with his last known health conditions. Online sleuths have found photos of mysterious elderly German men in Argentina from the 1950s and 60s that look suspiciously similar. Are they Hitler? Probably not. Could they be? The internet says maybe. One particularly viral photo shows an old guy that legitimately could be anyone but has spawned thousands of Reddit threads. The testimonies kept coming until the 1960s, then just stopped, presumably because he would have been like 70 plus, and either died naturally or everyone got bored. Nowadays, we saw a revival of these evidence from people talking about it on Joe Rogan podcast and shows like Hunting Hitler. It's really fascinating stuff, and I think the evidence is way stronger compared to the mainstream narrative propagated by commies, which are well known for fabrication and lies as a core method of their system, so yeah, make your own mind. And before the lefties watching this start saying, oh, you are just a Hitler lover and a right-wing nationalist and a dirty racist, let me not disagree with this statement, but also tell you that I love Jesus too. However, when it comes to Hitler, at least I can hear his voice, and when I do, boy do I get goosebumps, so let me leave you with this classic.
Meine Arbeit für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja,